let's shift you a different time. We're kind of dancing around the time when lots of you go to Subway for lunch. How many of you have ever been to Subway for dinner? You been? How many of you go often? So lots of hands went up and only one went up often. So let's start here. How come you go a lot?
Because I'm coming back from a 6 to 9 and it's still open. So I just run on campus, grab it, and go home and eat. It's convenient.
Convenient. For those of you who said you've been but you don't go often, why don't you go often?
I don't think of it. Which I think kind of goes with the fact that very few of them have drive-throughs. Because usually, again, if I'm eating food out, I'm gonna go have a really good meal, or I'm gonna drive through because I'm in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think of it because I think of the places automatically that have drive-throughs.
It's one of, it's I think one of the more interesting questions because other quick serve restaurants don't have gigantic drop-offs in their dinner thing. Like Subway has a significantly different lunch versus dinner day part. And trying to understand why, because it's not. I'm not sure that a Philly cheese steak sandwich is different at lunch or dinner.
I think we've been ingrained that a sandwich is a lunch food, and since you're a little kid, you bring a sandwich to school for lunch, and that's what you eat for lunch. And a hamburger is a dinner food. And I mean, when you're a grown up, you can go buy a hamburger for lunch if you want. You get that bonus option, but no one is ever in the mood to eat a sandwich for dinner. That's lunch food.
Is that true for everybody?
No.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No.
Temperature matters a little bit. I have this problem with eating cold dinner meals. I don't know. I tend to just want something warm at the end of the day. That may just be a me thing, but I mean, you obviously can toast this up, so you can get over that. But
I think that there's a lot of credence in what you just said. I work at a facility where there are residents there, and when we have sandwiches for dinner, everyone complains. So I think the majority of the population, more than likely, would not go to have a cold sandwich for dinner. And that's because when you think of Subway, you think of a cold sandwich. When I forget that they toast sandwiches, so they ask you, and then you're like, maybe, do I want a hot sandwich now, for lunch? And obviously some of them are already made hot, but I think the majority of people don't go for cold food for dinner.
You have my family sold during the summer. Whenever we go to the swim club in our city, that's all we eat for dinners, lunch, in between. Our family picks up 4 of them, go to the pool. So it's seasonal for us. So it's I don't know. Michael, can you
what?
agree with
You want me to verify that?
It's true.
That's it.
I guess so. I think it's still a matter of convenience there. I don't necessarily see this as a seasonal thing. For me, it's
we get him one. So
yeah. Well, he's
If
right.
you're not going to verify, he doesn't want you to speak.
Yeah,
What are you
I
doing,
see
Michael?
so. Yeah, I'm gonna hear about this
You're
in the car
ruining
ride
this
back. For me, it's Subway's never my first option. It's always a matter of convenience for me. I'd either go to a place that has better food where I can sit down and enjoy it, or I will make my own food. If I'm on the road and I need the sub quick and something that's going to fill me up because I always get that foot-long sub, that's where I might go if I see it. But there's always a better place in my mind, always a better place. And it's always just something that I might see. I'm like, you know what, I'll
Okay. Well, let's talk about choose two. Thought I'd go to dinner, go to Subway more for dinner if I thought about it more. It would advertise to remind me, and I actually was nervous about putting that up, but you introduced that. If they had dinner and lunch specials, if they combined those in some way, so that if you went to one, you got to the other. If they offered dinner discounts, if they had more flavorful sandwiches, if they had better places to sit, if they had drive-throughs to take out. So you can choose 2 on those. You're killing me being an advertising agency that you don't want us to advertise to you more and more and more.
No one wants to be advertised to ever.
That's for sure. Okay. Anybody else would like to add about, what would actually interest you or convince you to try Subway for dinner more frequently?
Sometimes I think it's a pretty good gourmet option every now and then to show
that it feels like dinner?
Yeah, just, you know, so you wrap it in paper differently, or I mean, just something else to separate yourself from the traditional menu too. Because, I mean, I operate in tiers, and so when I'm at McDonald's, they have their dollar menu, and if I'm just finding change in my car to go get something quick, I'll do that. But every now and then having something offered that's a little above standard, especially if you kind of wrap it into kind of an advertisement in some way to get me to dinner, that'd be kind of nice. So.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I would probably go there if there were some better ingredients or something special to make me feel like I'm not just getting the same old, because like I said, there's always a better option for me. So if there are some unusual or different kinds of ingredients they don't typically have, I might be inclined to go there just to check it out. So,
I agree. I think the way that they wrap it up, the plastic bag makes it on level with McDonald's. If they made it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, instead of
So it
like,
felt more like a restaurant experience as
yeah,
opposed to-
packaging really helps.
I think a
More
lot.
artistic. Oh,
I would say I think a lot of times too people associate dinner with like different components. Like there's not just one thing you have for dinner. Like a lot of times if you're sitting down for a meal, you have, you know, a salad, or you have the main thing like a meat and then something on the side, a vegetable, a starch, something like that. So maybe if they were like different components to what they offered for dinner. I don't know how you would wrap that all into a sandwich, but that might be something interesting. Yeah, soup and salad. Yeah, kind of like a Panera type thing.
Okay.
I might be more apt to go there for dinner if they had, like if I'd gone there for lunch a couple days before and I don't know if they do the frequent cards where you can get a punch. So I'm gonna go back there versus going to McDonald's because I'm gonna get a punch and then I'm gonna get a free sub one day.
Like a reward kind of system.
Yeah.
They used to do
They
that
used to
with
have
little
that.
stamp
Yeah, they
things,
do.
and they don't do it anymore. My mom would collect those. Oh my god.
I think the hard part
Free
is
sub
so
all
do
the
the
time.
people who work at Subway's collected those. I think that was eat for free all the time. Interesting. Catering. How many of you ever thought about Subway to cater? Really? How come? Tell me about that.
I mean, I think it's a good option because it's very non-controversial. I think everyone more or less would be, you know, satisfied with Subway, where if you get something that, you know, you may like more, you get, you know, your favorite restaurant or whatever, odds are if there's 100 people there, some of them really hate it, where it's hard to go wrong with, you know, a piece of lunch meat, a piece of cheese and lettuce.
Right.
No one's gonna just be really happy with it, but everyone's gonna say, I could eat that,
Yeah.
so.
Interesting. What else?
Yeah, I actually, I was on a film set and we decided to order Subway, and we realized that we should have just gone with a bunch of foot-long options instead of their massive sandwich where they divide the sandwich up into different ingredients, because we could have gotten a whole lot more by buying the foot-longs for $5. They said they thought it was supposed to feed 10 to 12 people, and it fed maybe 4 to 5 people. So I will never cater there again unless they increase the portion size. I mean, we felt completely conned, and everybody went hungry.
Because when you get the really long, they cut them like this big.
Yeah.
And instead you
And
can
those
get
are
a 6
right.
long, but then this is a portion, which is it's kind of like that's it like a
It's like a 3-inch.
finger food
Right,
thing,
that's,
you know,
that's
like
ridiculous.
if you're gonna have other food. I think of it for catering. I have a pretty big extended family, and for my grandfather's birthday, we always got the huge, you know, the really, really big. I don't even know if they still have it anymore, but the really huge Subway sandwich. So that's just something I grew up with. That's why I think to cater for them. But I agree. I've been to places where they cater for that, and you're always like, what am I gonna do with this tiny sandwich? I have to eat 3 of them in order to actually
Yeah.
have lunch, which they said would be, you know, provided. So.
Okay.
For me, it was kind of nice to have a small one because whenever I had Subway, it was usually like for a sporting event in high school,
Okay.
we would do that. And so you either play and then you've got an hour, or you maybe got a half hour. So it was nice to have a little sandwich. Everyone liked it. It was, you know, variety. They can make their sandwich, so it was nice to have a smaller size rather than a large size for me.